Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. And very good morning to all my respected and beloved students and staff or whatever, all my students. Today I'm going to talk about emergence and current challenges to the contemporary Muslim sociologists and anthropologists. Okay, this is the title given to me. Inshallah, I'll try my very best to share a bit of my own, share a bit of the knowledge. Okay, next slide. How to move next slide? Okay. Okay, all right. Okay. So this is me. I'm from the Department of Sociology and Anthropology, and I'm Azlan. I'm an anthropologist, and my area of specialization medical anthropology and law. Okay. Before we move on to the actual presentation, I need to make a quick recap here and about IIM vision and mission. And as you know, IIM vision is IIM aims to become a leading international center of educational excellence, which seeks to restore the dynamic and progressive role of the Muslim Ummah in all branches of knowledge and intellectual discourse. So IIM aim is to be a center of educational excellence. And our mission is IIIT. We used to say that. That means the integration, Islamization, internationalization, and comprehensive excellence. So we want our students and we want our graduates in particular to be an international key player at the international plane. Okay, that is our mission and IIIT. Then my today's presentation will have this content. Number 1, introduction. Number 2, global integration process. Number 3, Western representation. Number 4, globalization. And number 5, AKHI model. And finally, number 6, conclusion. Okay, so inshallah, we'll kick off with this first slide. Okay, today, billions of, okay, let me read up for maybe, okay. Today, billions of people take it for granted that they can slip into cyberspace and connect with others regardless of geographic distance thanks to electronic, fiber optic, and digital telecommunication and technology. So the issue here is we are talking about big number, billions of people take it for granted of the technology. So based on this particular statement, what next? What are the issues that involve in reality? So we have here, let's say, okay. So you can see that we are a global integration process. You look at the whole world, you can see majority of people moving out from their own country, and they go for better opportunities and better life. So you can see, for example, from here you can see China. Chinese from China will move into Canada. They move to the United States. You can see China move to Australia. You have our brothers, sisters from Philippines moving to European countries, to Canada, to Europe, and to the United States. We also have people from India moving to Middle Eastern countries, and you can see migration from African countries moving to America, United States, Canada, mostly European countries. So you can see there is a migration from their country to another country. So in a globalized world, tens of millions of people have moved across international borders for better income earning opportunities. So they include cleaners, laborers, construction workers, workers for tourism industry, as well as doctors, engineers, to list down a few. And not shown here is the international flow of refugees. So you can see here that the movement of people you're talking about human moving from one place to another place across the globe. And if that happens, okay, I need to, if that happens, what happens next? So you can see a global migration. Migrants, you can see transnationals and refugees. You see migrants, urbanization, and slums. These are two issues involved at the moment. You can see here, and sometimes it can be leads to human trafficking. This is something to do with like refugees. We have world's largest refugee camp. So in the African country of Somalia, extended drought and years of civil war have caused chronic famine and chased huge numbers of people out of the country. This is example, lessons to be learned. I mean, being a sociologist, being an anthropologist, we are looking at the global issues. What are the issues involving society, involving human being, welfare of the humans? And then you can also look at the slums. When you have urbanization, when you have migration from different country to another country, you can slum. For example, here given here, just a photo here, slum in Manila. Half of the inhabitants of Manila, the capital of the Philippines, live in slums, such as this. This is just examples. Okay, and then what next? What you can see from these particular issues? You can see migration, mobility in geographic space, involving temporary or permanent change in usual place of residence, has always had a significant effect on the world's social geography. So you can see, you can talk about human trafficking issues from underdeveloped countries to the developed countries. And majority of them prefer to go to European countries like Canada, Europe, UK, Australia, United States, New Zealand. Okay, so that means migrants. What do you mean by migrants? Migrants also include transnational people who earn their living in one country but while remaining the citizens of another. Let's say they will go to work to another country but they remain citizens of another. And this creates a kind of, when you have more people in one particular country, one particular state, it creates xenophobia, fear or hatred of strangers or anything foreign. So you can see there will be a conflict of not just emotion, conflict of opportunities between the host country and those coming from another country. So yeah, they have a local people having what I call it as fear or hatred against the migrants. But see, most of the migrants who came to that country, normally they are poor and begin their new lives in expanding urban areas. So they have no option. Sometimes they have to leave their country because of war. They have to leave the country sometimes because of genocide. They have to leave the country because sometimes for education, and they are not returned to their own country after completing their education. So there are many reasons for moving out from their own country, from poorest country to a better living country, to a better space, to a better lifestyle, to a better opportunities and better possibilities. And when we have people coming from different countries, moving to European countries as such, Australia or Canada, United States, other parts of the world, you can see the dominant, the locals. You can see we see cultural diversity. That means you have multiculturalism, you have pluralistic society, you have a multi-race society, multiracial or multi-ethnic society, depending which country that you are in. If you are coming to Malaysia, for example, so we have an issue of multi-ethnic society. It can be of a different race, or it can be a different ethnic society. Or if you go to United States or you go to UK, you will have another situation where you are being, how to say, you're being westernized, or you can say you have your own culture, you have your own belief to be practiced in a different world, and you are not dominant in that particular country. You are not the majority, you are the minorities, as mentioned by Dr. Zaki just now. You are the minorities in a dominant country, in a majority country of European or Western or representation, or Western surrounding. And then the next issue we can talk about is in relation to this issue of migration. We also can talk about globalization. Another issue we can talk about. Under this globalization, if I could read here, operating under the banner of globalization, it builds on earlier cultural structures of worldwide trade networks, and it is the successor to a system of colonialism. So globalization is another way of another system of colonialism, and then where you have many European capitalist states rule and exploited foreign nations inhabiting these distant territories. So it's enormously complex and complicated. You have the global media playing around, and it's just an instrument for propaganda and to affecting the public opinion, making decisions and whatsoever, and personal determining and deception for political and military purpose. So globalization is another urgent issue, and nowadays we are dealing not just with globalization, we are dealing with AI, artificial intelligence. Is another kind of system of colonialism. So you have a different term used in the name of colonialism. As of now, we have globalization as one of the main issues that we are facing. In other words, we are talking about world without border. And let's move to the next slide. You can see what will be the reactions to globalization. From issue of globalization, you can encounter many other issues, social issues or social ills, poverty, hunger, obesity and malnutrition. You talk about global warming, you talk about pollution, you talk about human rights, you talk about ethnic minorities, you talk about indigenous people. So that means being anthropologists or being sociologists, you are going to deal with all these issues, social issues or social ills in the community. And it is not just because of the structure of the society, but sometimes because of the migration issues you mentioned just now. So that creates more issues of poverty, that creates more issue of hunger. For example, let's say globalization that leads to hunger and malnutrition. We have a group of country or more developed countries taking look after the poorest country. So you can talk about pollution, and talk about global warming, and also the human rights. And this is just examples to show you hunger, the comparative picture between malnutrition and obesity. To show, I mean, we are living in a world of disparity in terms of economy, in terms of politics, in terms of civilization, in terms of facilities, in terms of opportunities, in terms of knowledge. So you have a very clear disparity in terms of many in various sectors. And so what next? So what will be our grand design, and how to go about, and how this Western representation or Western hegemony take the role in the society, how it happens. So if you look here, I'm going to show you the map from the anthropological point of view. So you see, before we can talk about Western hegemony, before we can talk about Westernization, we need to see how they go about understanding community. Say, for example, let's say anthropologists, they travel around the globe, across the globe, in all parts of the world, to understand people, to understand not just the issues of the identity, not the issues of problem, but they try to understand who they are. For example, let's say you have in anthropological study, we have Prof. Malinowski down below here. So he went to somewhere in the Trobriand Island. We have Raymond Firth, for example, study about people in Ethiopia, a primitive community. We have Margaret Mead studying about people in the Samoa, far away from England, far away from the United States, to understand others. And we also have William Henry Skinner study about Maoris in New Zealand. We have Rosado, Philippines, study about Philippines in Longox. We have Barton studying about the Philippines among the Ifugao. We have anthropologists in Japan studying about Ainu people. We have Carter Kleiman in China, Edmund Leach studying about Hill tribes in Myanmar, before that in Burma. We have Marvin Harris studying about people in India, about the caste system. We have anthropologists about Ricky Brown studying in Andaman Island. We have Clipper Geertz studying about people in Central Java and Bali in Indonesia. We have anthropologists. Talking about how this Western knowledge comes into the community, how they colonize the people under their own ideology. That's Evans Pritchard studying about the people among the Noor in Sudan. We have Mary Douglas studying about Congo, the Lele of the Kasai. We have Marvin Harris in Mozambique, Cortes in Ghana, Talensi and Ashanti. We have Marvin Harris again in Ecuador and Brazil. We have Levi Strauss in Brazil. We have Franz Boas in Quaquito. There's Hobo Native Americans. We have Franz Boas, Backlund Island, Inuit. We have L.H. Morgan, Iroquois. We have Capanzano and Ghana in Morocco. So that means from here we can see, as anthropologists, we are traveling. I'm talking about Western anthropologists, American and the British anthropologists. They travel far away from home to study all those people around the globe. And we as a Muslim, I'm talking about Muslim anthropology, what we have done, we should emulate the way the Western anthropologists do their work. So we as a Muslim anthropologist or Muslim sociologist, we need to travel far away too, to understand people, to talk about Islam, to talk about our religion, to talk about our knowledge. We can talk about Islamization and so on. Right? Then from this map, we try to show now. Okay. So what will be our grand design? So we can see the Western anthropologists. They travel far away from home, and they try to study people across the globe in many settings, in many social settings, in many countries. They went as far as in South Pacific Island. So what will be our job here? What will be our duty here as anthropologists, as a Muslim sociologist or as a Muslim anthropologist? We need to have a grand design. We need to do how to go about. We need to employ integrated framework to understand social issues. We've been talking about Islamization. We're talking about integration. We're talking about the knowledge between how to merge between Western ideology and Islamic ideology, how to go about. And we are talking about IIIT, which I already mentioned just now, about the mission of IUM to be, we have Islamization, integration, internationalization, and comprehensive excellence. So how to go about? So in this case, I would suggest, for example here, we are suggesting one model. I call it AHI model. AHI model, what is AHI model? So this AHI model have 5 main principles. Number 1, we need to understand we are the Khalifa. And then number 2, the second principle, anthropological imagination. Under this model, we have anthropological imagination. We took it from the Surah Al-Hujurat, verse 13. We are also talk about we have to be his wise children on the earth as a Khalifa. And I took it from the Surah Al-Baqarah, verse 30. And number 3, we have also need to satisfy certain ingredients, the Sharia compliance. I took it from Surah Al-Kafirun, verse 1 to 6. And some of the verses from the Quran for Noble and Righteous Deed, Amal Saleh, Surah Al-Imran, Al-Bayyinah, Al-As. And we have also ingredients on 5 spiritual guidance and have Ibadah, Surah Al-Fatiha. And this model, I'm proposing this model. This is one of it. Khalifa, Al-Baqarah was 30. وَإِذْ قَالَ رَبُّكَ لِلْمَلَائِكَةِ إِنِّي جَاعِلٌ فِي الْأَرْضِ خَلِيفَةً قَالُوا أَتَجْعَلُ فِيهَا مَن يُفْسِدُ فِيهَا وَيَسْفِكُ الدِّمَاءَ وَنَحْنُ نُسَبِّحُ بِحَمْدِكَ وَنُقَدِّسُ لَكَ قَالَ إِنِّي أَعْلَمُ مَا لَا تَعْلَمُونَ. So, and when your Lord said to the angels, indeed I will make upon the earth a successive authority. They say, will you place upon it one who causes corruption therein and sheds blood, while we exalt you with praise and declare your protection. Allah says, He said, indeed, I know that which you do not. This is so the first thing that we have to bear in mind under this model, we have to be very clear. We must have a clear conscience that we are His Khalifa, His viceroy on earth, and we have to hold the amanah given by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And then the second ingredient which I mentioned just now, anthropological imagination. We have to bear in mind we are not living in our own community. We are not living within our own cocoon. We are living in a society which is not belong to us alone. We have to negotiate our thinking, and we have to be not to say flexible, but to have a clear conscience and awareness that we are living in a society of the other. O mankind, indeed, we have created you from male and female, and made you peoples and tribes that you may know one another. Indeed, the most noble of you in the sight of Allah is the most righteous of you. Indeed, Allah is knowing and aware. So that means we are living in a society of people of different ethnic, different races, and then we have people of different religion, different faith, different cultural, and all this needs to be, we need to negotiate. It needs to be negotiated. So anthropological imagination means we need to have some kind of anthropological approach in understanding those people in the society. And the third ingredient the third ingredient that I wish to share is about the Sharia compliance. Being a Khalifa, we are not talking about understanding people in the community of different races, different ethnic groups, and different faith, different religion, different ideology whatsoever. We also need to comply with the certain rules. We call it Sharia compliance. In this case, I would rather prefer Sharia compliance. That means in this case, say, oh, disbelievers, Bismillahirrahmanirrahim, قُلْ يَا أَيُّهَا الْكَافِرُونَ لَا أَعْبُدُ مَا تَعْبُدُونَ وَلَا أَنْتُمْ عَابِدُونَ مَا أَعْبُدُ وَلَا أَنَا عَابِدٌ مَا عَبَدتُّمْ وَلَا أَنْتُمْ عَابِدُونَ مَا أَعْبُدُ لَكُمْ دِينُكُمْ وَلِيَ دِينِ. In this case, your religion is your religion, my religion is my religion. So we have freedom of religion. That means religious freedom. So you can have your own faith, I got my own faith, but our duty as a Khalifa, we have to convey the message about Islam to the society. And how to convey? We have to emulate the way anthropologists travel far away from home. They went all different countries in the world. I will show you some of the prominent anthropologists. Went to India, Brazil, America, New Zealand, Japan, and some areas in South Pacific Islands and so on. So we need to go in. We need to travel. We cannot just sit down and talk about Islam. We have to go out and do something about it to deliver the message of Islam. So being a Khalifa, you have to hold this amanah on earth and to deliver the right things about the knowledge itself. And number 4, all these are considered as our noble and righteous deed, our amal salih. Except for those who believe and do righteous deeds. From for them is a reward uninterrupted. So we have to do the practical part. I mean, what I'm trying to say here, being a sociologist or anthropologist, we are facing many issues on earth. We have many issues across the globe. Not just about AI, not just about globalization. We are talking about the Western civilization, the Western ideology. We talk about secularization, how to de-secularization, how to talk about Western ideology versus Islamic ideology, how to talk about community engagement from their point of view and community engagement from our point of view. Community engagement is good, but we are on their part. But in our context, in this case, Amal Saleh, we still can go for the community engagement from the Western point of view, but we add on with our intention. It is part of our ibadah. Then of course our commitment and our deeds throughout the program will be rewarded. And this is something that we have to bear in mind And this is well explained in the archive. And finally, another the ingredients, yeah, spiritual guidance and help in the Ikasipada. So we have to think that whatever things that we do, ia akan do, but ia akan start. I mean, it is you we worship and you we ask for help. So that means that is to the straight path. So we always think whatever things that we do, we must have a clear awareness, clear conscience, and you must have a positive intention, in good faith, and we have to put this in good faith in the guise of ibadah. So based on this model, can have this is the simplified version of it. Can see here we are the key player, the Khalifa, IKHS, and we have all the attributes. Asli, we have the anthropological imagination, Sharia compliance, Rational State and Ibadah. These will be some of the attributes that we have to take note. And that is not enough, but we have to prepare modules of all issues. How we can talk about modules about parenting, modules about good governance, modules about Sharia compliance, rules about economy, transaction, rules about commitment or community commitment, community engagement. So we have to prepare the modules, and these modules once prepared, and the core business in any community that you wish to improve the community, we have to go to the very basic unit of the community, that is the family. So we have to prepare. We have the family is the core, the core business, yeah, and you're surrounded by SB1, SB2, SB3, SB4. That means here we talk about sector based. Sector based means, let's say SB1 can be law, SB2 can be economy, SB3 can be politics, SB4 can be education. This is just an example. So if you have a module to create a good models for the family and a good module for this sector based center, that will be implemented for the Ummatic vision. Community here means I'm talking about Ummatic vision. But Ummatic vision does not mean for the Muslims only. We have to bear in mind we are not dealing with the Muslim community, but we have to bear in mind we are dealing with non-Muslim community. What do you mean by Ummatic vision? It covers both the non-Muslim and the Muslim community. This is our duty as a Khalifa. And with all these attributes, asli, inshallah, we are able to prepare the module, and this module should be based on integrated elements to bring in the issue of Islamization, or how to negotiate between the issue of Islamization and Westernization. Yeah, not everything from Westernization is not good. There are certain things that we can adopt. There are certain things that we can reject. There are certain things that we can adopt and adapt. So I mean, it's all about how we look at things. Okay? So this model is one of the model that I managed to construct, and hoping that this model can be further useful for our agenda as a Khalifa, and to prepare the modules for Ummatic vision. Okay, so I mean, we can start with the Muslim Society project. What will the project that we should do? Is there a Muslim society? Or the very idea of a homogeneous Muslim society? So in reality, there are many Muslim societies, and that the range of their religions and cultural variations are comprehensible and subject to different socio-political context. In this case, we can start with the Muslim society, and we can look at the variations of practices. Sometimes you could, let's say, in Malaysia, being a Muslim country, because we got in our legal perspective in Malaysia, we have we acknowledge Islam is the official religion of the country. So that means in Malaysia, in Malaysian soil, whatever you want to do, it has to be Sharia compliant, because it well stated in our federal constitution, in the law itself, that Islam is the law, is the religion of the federation, of the country. But other religion can be practiced in peace and harmony. right? So you have your own religion. We also allow religious freedom on in the country. So maybe in Malaysia we are the majority, but we need to understand our Muslim community. Maybe we can encounter certain variations in terms of practices and belief. Because in Islam we have a different mazhab. It can be Maliki, Hanbali, Hanafi, Shafi'i. A majority in Malaysia we adopt Shafi'i school. Doesn't mean that we forego the other mazhab, but we try to see which is the common to us. But in certain countries like India, maybe in other parts of the world, Muslims are not majority; they are the minorities. So and then in this case, you have a very limited options in terms of your practices. Certain countries will make it difficult for you to practice Islam. Certain countries is a bit flexible. Certain countries a little bit accommodative. We have to do a study. How to do study for the start at least, Muslim study across the globe to see any similarities and differences. Sometimes we are very much governed not by the religious practices, but sometimes we are governed by our cultural beliefs, cultural beliefs and cultural practices. And sometimes we get confused between cultural practices and cultural belief in the context of religion. So we need to go out there to do a practical work and to educate people about the true mission of Islam. So not to be too judgmental. So just like, for example, which I show you the map just now, where anthropologists travel across the globe in many parts of the world. They don't talk about their state, their belief. They just study people and try to understand. And this data or this information will be brought back to their own state, let's say American or British, and they look at all the data, and from there they can plan ahead how to go about to understand or to bring in their ideas into the community. And it is a large religious and cultural area held together by an ideology. So why the main issue in question here, how to translate the Islamic ideological principles to basic processes as comprehensible input. We were wondering, we are Muslim, we have different school of thoughts here, different mazhab, but why we are not united? Why we still talking about the something that bring more disintegration rather than integration? Why do we have arguments about this? Why we have Islamic ideological arguments, conflict among the community? And because of we are not able to translate those in a proper manner, we are unable to translate in the context of bil hikmah. So we see the Muslim societies are not united in certain issues. Okay, for example, let's say we can see now the real situation, what happened in Gaza, what happened to our brothers and sisters in Palestine. Okay, we are not united. So why it happens that way? How to translate so that Muslim society to be together and to be united? Okay, what will be the process? So so in other words, we can start from a small project like Muslim society and using the Akhi model. Okay, and of course, when we talk about Akhi model, we have to create the construct, the ideal type. So we can have Islamization. Here for 01, you have the role of river knowledge. We have 02 down below there. We talk about rationality, role of science, and then 03 there, another section there. You can talk about role of culture. So this Islamization, rationality, and tradition need to be our focus, and how to go about using this our model, which I already suggested. Our process will be when it comes to Islamization, we can use this Akhi model, theoretical framework. When we talk about the role of science, we can talk about fieldwork and data collection and community engagement, and the outcome will be Islamic ethnography, right? Islamic ethnography. And for the conclusion for my presentation today, what is Islamic ethnography? I mean, Islamic categories on others' cultures. I mean, we're trying to understand others using Islamic model, which I mentioned just now, this Akhi model. And we hope that to get those information, and we are able to educate people more if they don't understand Islam and they have a very limited knowledge about Islam, so we can have more something to be shared with the other people across the globe. So being there means we have to be in the community. We have to do fieldwork activity. We must have fieldwork support and post fieldwork course support and so on. Okay, so we can talk about Western versus Islamic ethnography as just an alternative. We need Islamic ethnography to examine the actual variations within the Muslim communities. The core ingredient for ethnography as such is the ability for ethnographers to employ fieldwork and the quality of being there. Why? Because if you are there, then we are able to see things better. We cannot study, we cannot understand people from a distance by just looking at the book, looking at the kitab. It won't help. Of course, theoretically, yes. At the very beginning, the philosophical part, the preparation for the knowledge itself, the approach and the instrument used, the method used, and whatever. Yeah, on that particular matter, yes, we can go for it. But by just having roundtable discussion alone is not enough. So we have to make use to apply the knowledge that we have from the kitab. We have to go out there and do our study to understand people around, and at least we can get out from our cocoon and to understand people out there. In other words, in anthropological study, the study to understand the other. Other means people not like you. Okay, so we can say, for the start, we can start about Muslim communities. Along the way, we can study the non-Muslim community. The real challenge could be when we study the non-Muslim community. Non-Muslim community, because we have difficulties in terms of the issue of Sharia compliance. Sharia compliance in many ways, in terms of food, in terms of halal food, in terms of activities, in terms of issues of rituals, which is non-Sharia compliant. So we may not have problems with the Muslim community, but Muslim community will have a different kind of limitations. Not so much about halal food, because it's halal. Halal food will be not a problem. Accommodation will not be a problem. Prayer will not be a problem. The surrounding will not be a problem. But the problem may be certain ideology or misunderstanding of certain knowledge of Islam, and that leads to something needs to be need to be corrected, need to be to be amended within the Sharia component. Okay, and in Surah Al-Ra'd we say that truly God alters not what is in the people until they alter what is in themselves. So you want to change people, okay? This is and when God desires evil for people, there's no repelling it, and apart from Him, they have no protector. So this is one of the verses of the Quran telling that we want to change, we need to change ourselves, right? So we have to do work, we have to do hard work to get things done. I think that's about it for my presentation about the title of given to me on the I'll go back to the title. Sorry. Okay, so that was all about my presentation with regard to the emergent issues, and this is the title. I need to read again the title here. Okay, yeah. So we have emergence and current challenges to the contemporary sociologists and anthropologists. This is our great challenge now. How to educate people and how to do your work within the Sharia. And one of the things that I'm suggesting is to employ the Akhi model as part of the approaches, one of the approaches that we can use to understand people out there, inshallah. Thank you for listening, and I'm sorry for any limitations from my part, inshallah. Thank you very much. Okay, back to you, sister.